What's the dumbest thing you've ever heard someone say? A guy at work told me Alec Baldwin shot the director of Rust because she had information that would put Hillary Clinton in jail for life, and the Freemasons ordered him to kill her in order for him to elevate to the 33rd degree of Freemasonry. I think that takes the cake. Kids can't go to casinos and bet because they are lucky and they can make them broke. The worst of all is that it was said by an economics student. I'd love to run a study and get everything from a 1-month-old baby to 100-year-old grandparents and just have them gamble over and over and see at what age statistically you do the best gambling. I was in 8th grade and my classmate said that people who practice Islam believe in Muhammad Ali. During a class discussion on religion, she was so confident too, lol. There's no reason to leave Canada. I could spend the rest of my life just traveling across our country. I asked, where would you go first? Alaska. I think it's a tie between two things my uncle's GF has said. One was that she didn't like the show My Little Pony BC. Unicorns aren't real, but Pegasus are BC. There's a constellation called Pegasus and a Pegasus in the story of Hercules. The other was when she told my husband he wouldn't be drinking water BC. He's diabetic and that he should have a soda instead to keep from messing up his blood sugar. I could write a whole series of books about stupid things she said. That Carly learned Dutch when iCarly was suddenly broadcasted in a dubbed version. Setting, high school age, in the car with the boys, trying to figure out where to eat. Friend number 1, let's go to the buffet, pronouncing the T. Friend number 2, laughing at friend number 1's ignorance, says, bro, it's buffet. Pronouncing it correctly, then smugly says, the T is plural. I don't think I'll ever forget that. Still makes me laugh 20+ years later. Edit, should have included in the setting that I was an American teen. I'm aware the pronunciation is different in places. My ex was telling me that she always wanted to go to Europe. I asked her what European country she wanted to visit first. She said New Zealand. My cousin, while in high school, was obsessed with going to London. Where is London located? Well, in Paris, of course. London, Paris. My sister once told me she thinks the platypus is a mythical creature. She's 18 and we have seen a platypus before. An ex of mine called a radio show and was going for flying lessons at the time. When asked what her intentions were with them by the host, she said, to take herself skydiving. She was mortified afterwards and got a bit flustered, but still, come on girl. I'm still laughing about it. ATMs don't contain any money. There's a printing press in there, and when you get out $100 it prints out the $100 for you. Haven't you noticed it comes out warm? What, do you think they would be dumb enough to just keep a bunch of actual money in a random box? This was from someone in a PhD program at the time. We were playing Uno and the guy next to me just needed to choose one color, out of 4, to win the game. I told him he had a 25% chance to win. He was like, no, it is 50%, I either win or lose. Then I asked him, so your chance of winning the lottery is also 50%, because you either win or lose. He agreed. Edit, he was not joking. My aunt's dog died and we went to her house for my cousin's birthday and someone asked where Ginger, dog, was at. My aunt said the dog woke up dead. It's still a running joke 10 years later. My aunt's nickname is Molasses, so yeah, lol. A Florida lady once asked me, what time do you have Christmas in Australia? I was a tourist visiting at Christmas time, I'm from Australia. I had a former co-worker that used to believe that buffalo wings come from actual buffaloes. He said if you part the fur on a buffalo's shoulder blades you will see small undeveloped wings. They used to have fully developed functional wings back in prehistoric times. After evolution they have no reason for their wings. I don't ever read books, they're useless. I get all my information from better sources, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. My ex asked me, if you put your hand over your belly button, can the baby still breathe? Since you're colorblind, does that mean I'm basically naked to you? Dude seriously thought anything red or green was invisible and see-through for colorblind people. What kind of meat is lamb? Freshman, does this take place in Australia? Me, 1950s America. Freshman, yeah, but wasn't America, the country we live in, Australia back then? I was quizzing a colleague on her entomology knowledge. I asked her how many legs a mosquito had. She asked for a clue. I asked what kind of clue. She asked if it was an odd or even number. In America we got the right to privacy. It's in the Bible. When I was in Hawaii, I overheard a woman comment to her husband, with as many tourists as there are, I'm really surprised there aren't more out-of-state license plates. I was out for sushi with the wife. A couple sat down at the table next to us that looked like a lonely nerd and an escort. The escort looked 5-ish months pregnant. The waitress walks up to take their order and asks if they wanted something to drink. The escort said, "Baby loves sake," while rubbing her belly. So now the wife and I use that phrase when we see/hear something incredibly stupid. Edit, since so many people are asking, it's because the presumed escort said sake, not saka or sakai. Where did you get that birthmark on your ear? A question asked by a fellow student in high school. On a discussion of orange juice from concentrate. Girl 1, where is concentrate? Girl 2, I think it's in Africa. It's like everyone I know is having a birthday this year. I work as a butcher and was asked once, how big do chickens have to get before they become a turkey? I was at a party with my brother and he said to everyone, look at this guys, then he poured 40% vodka into a glass and then took another 40% vodka and poured into the same glass and drank it. I asked, what are you doing? And he said, drinking 80% vodka, what do you think? A guy in my welding class said he wanted to go to prison to get free tattoos. Mrs. Obama and Dolly Parton are both secretly men. Football is clearly fake and staged because Tom Brady was on the winning team in the Super Bowl 7 times and was born in 1977. Both said by my mother. In a moving bus, one passenger to another, hey, open the window and tell me which way the wind is blowing. I cried laughing. I'm a New Zealander and I lived in Colorado for a year. I was complimented several times on how good my English was. I was also asked how long I have been learning English. While in Edinburgh looking at the castle, I overheard 2 American tourists, I mean it's nice, but why did they build it so close to the railway line? Yes. That's the dumbest thing I've heard someone say. I tutored a guy in college. I told him that the Intel logo on the computer had ridges on it so it could absorb static electricity and that if he rubbed it the computer would work faster. I watched him for weeks rubbing away at the logo. Towards the end of the semester I asked him if it was working for him. He practically yelled, yes, and thanked me profusely. A Jehovah's Witness, who insisted the story of Noah's Ark was true, told me that it would be impossible to build the Ark today as we no longer have trees tall enough to make the long planks required. The moon is a star. I had recently moved to the Midwest from the East Coast. Was in a small corner store. I noticed 2 ladies talking about a case of bottled waters called Niagara. The 2 proceeded to talk about how no one should drink it because it came from Africa, and Nigeria is known for dirty water. They then proceeded to tell the store clerk about it and she was also stunned to see they sell Nigeria water. This lady was incredulous that people in Europe didn't warn us in advance about 9/11. Because they're ahead of the USA in time. Why is it cold in Alaska, and hot in Hawaii when they are next to each other on the map? pointing to a US map on the board. This was a ninth grader. I used to work with a guy who didn't know the difference between something that was spicy, flavor, and something that was just hot, temperature. One time he waited for his spicy noodles to cool off all lunch. I live on a farm, so I get a lot of these. Do chickens walk just on their back legs? The cow discussion. When does a cow start to give milk? After it gives birth to its first calf. So, it has to keep having babies to give milk. No, if you continue to milk a cow it will continue to produce milk for years. Won't she dehydrate and die? This was from an adult woman. And finally, stated with gusto. I don't eat cheese because it's made with cow's pee, that's why it's yellow. I was discussing travel with someone and they said they want to go to a third world country like Europe. A lady at work claimed she had just been diagnosed with type 3 diabetes and wouldn't be able to make it into work for the foreseeable future. An ex-employer's nephew, a full-grown man. Trees lose their ability to absorb CO2 after 5 years and are useless after that, so we should just cut them down.